Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before we dive into today's episode, which is really doing a deeper dive into everything going on with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, talking about the latest season, season 13, episode 5, and then also what is going on in the news. We're going to talk about Teddi Mellencamp, Lisa Rinna, Lisa Vanderpump, Alex Baskin. So, we're going to get into what is also currently going on with the ladies. But before we do that, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's go. So first up, the season seems to finally be heating up, right? Denise is back. Morgan is coming up in the next episode. We're getting the teasing of Anne-Marie versus Crystal. And then friendships are being tested. Sutton versus Kyle. Friendships are being formed, whether these are authentic friendships, real friendships, frenemies, watch your back, but it seems to be a budding friendship between Garcelle and Erica. And then also, Kyle Richards just seems to be spiraling more and more in every single episode to the point where now it's concerning to watch and she needs real help. Side note, I think Kyle now, and by now I mean like currently, present day, not in the episodes, because remember the episodes were shot months ago. I do think that Kyle now currently probably is in some type of intense therapy. I predict that her and Mauricio are going to reconcile. I say in the next 3 months, I think Kyle and Mauricio are going to reconcile. I think Kyle is in deep therapy currently, and I see them getting back together. That's my prediction. But with that, let's dive more into the episode and also into more what's in the news, because there's a lot of things going down. At the end of this, we're going to talk about something pretty heavy. So I do have a trigger warning for sexual without consent going against someone, if you get what I'm saying. So trigger warning for that. We're going to get into that at the very end of this scene, at the very end of this episode. So trigger warning. But with that, let's dive in. So let's talk about Ding Dong Darit. Okay, Ding Dong Darit. Karma and Sutton are getting Darit back, okay? Now, first of all, didn't Darit make Kyle and everyone else wait during Teddi's workout event? This was like a couple of seasons ago when Teddi was on the show, when she was doing her whole like Instagram photo shoot against the window, where basically she was, having PK take photos of her for her Instagram account. And then when she showed up late at Teddi's workout event, Kyle lost her mind and was like, "Why are you wearing workout clothes? You're not working out." But yet Dorit acted like she couldn't wait in the car for Sutton when they were going to Garcelle's premiere for like 10 minutes. Girl, bye. Like, we're tired of you, Dorit. You're hypocritical. Like, you're a snooze. You know what it is about Dorit? Every time I want to like her, she just does something that is so unlikable. Like, she's just a bitter Betty. She's sour. She's a sourpuss. That's what it is. Dorit is a sourpuss. Like, she doesn't laugh. She doesn't have fun. She's always complaining about something. She's a sourpuss. And she's a hypocrite. So, did you guys notice how in the car, when she's in the car with Sutton, so this is the scene where, she's going to Garcelle's Black Girl Missing premiere with Sutton, and she's in the car waiting. And she's like, and when Sutton's like, "Oh, it's going to be like 100 people at the premiere party. It's going to be like a big deal." All of a sudden, sourpuss Ding Dong Dorit has, "Oh, well, with my PTSD, it's really hard for me to be in crowds. I need a heads up so I can prepare myself." Shut the hell up, Dorit. Like, we're sick and tired of it. Every single time you get an opportunity, you're taking a shot and a jab at Garcelle. Why? Why? First of all, stop lying about the PTSD. In my opinion, allegedly, you don't have PTSD because the robbery was fake, so you can get insurance money to get your husband out of his $2.27 million gambling debt. Okay? And you're only saying you needed a heads up because you wanted to take a jab at Garcelle, which has become your favorite sourpuss pastime. Okay? And so this is and then I also am confused because did Ding Dong Dorit have any problem being at Magic Mike in Vegas? That was crowds. That was sweaty men all over people. that was being touched in all types of inappropriate places. She didn't have PTSD then, did she? I'll wait. No, she didn't. So how did you mentally prepare to be in Vegas with Magic Mike with crowds of people and men all over you, but yet going to a premiere party to watch a movie, all of a sudden you're worried about your PTSD? Darit, shut up. Please shut up. You just wanted a reason to have a jab at Garcelle. Also, my secondary theory on her whole PTSD, bogus, tired, boring storyline is that I think she keeps keeping it up in case they get investigated for the alleged robberies, right? So I think she's trying to say, oh, I have all this PTSD, from the robberies in case the feds or LAPD or the insurance company or whoever does these types of investigations are like, wait a minute, everybody in the world is saying this was a scam. Maybe we should investigate. She can be like, no, but I didn't know. Maybe PK knew, but I didn't know. Take PK to jail, but not me. I've been suffering from PTSD because I didn't know. It's also her way for plausible deniability in case they get sued or investigated, right? Girl, bye. Like, Darit, miss me with all of you. All of you. I like the hoops you're wearing in this photo, though. Other than that, miss me with all of you, Darit. You're a sourpuss. Every single episode, you have an attitude. Every single episode, you're coming for Garcelle when she did not even send for you. Every single episode, you're complaining about something. Like, shut up. Shut up. Okay. Also, Darit couldn't take accountability for being a Karen when Garcelle was talking about her feelings. She was a Karen. A woman is talking to you about her not feeling safe about her children for very good reason. Not like she pulled out the clear blue sky. All of her children were systematically attacked. Verbally, online, and to their faces. All three of Garcelle's children. Oliver was and Jackson Jade. Jax got the brunt of it, but all three of them got some smoke, and those are her children by the women on the show and their husbands. So Garcelle had very good reason to say, hey, listen, I don't know if I trust you guys with my family. And then for Darit to turn it around like her feelings are hurt and then gaslighting Garcelle like she's crazy for having those feelings is sick and disgusting. Darit, have several seats. I'm done with you right now. I'm done. Okay. Now let's move on to Miss Erica Jane Girardi. This chick is evil. She's evil. But even though she's evil, I am a sucker for moms. You guys know that. I am a sucker for moms. So I love seeing her mom on the show. She talks about her unhealthy, wild childhood, but no matter how you grew up, that's never an excuse for stealing from victims. So, Erica, you can talk about your childhood all day long. I still don't have any sympathy or empathy for you because you're still not taking accountability for the role you played in stealing from the victims. You're still trying to hold on to the victims' money that I personally believe you still have access to. In my opinion, think that Tom Girardi had his little thug lawyers and his thug cronies set up these, sort of like not dummy accounts, but sort of contingency accounts, right? Like slush accounts, where he funneled the stolen money into these accounts. And then he has his thug friends, thug lawyers, cronies, put it in their name or their company's name, and then they're able to funnel that money to Erica. And we know this to be true because we know for a fact that I think his name was Richard Wilkes, did this with $500,000 in a Wells Fargo account in Florida. This is exactly what they did. And Erica got that $500,000. And then now all of a sudden she's seen with all of these old, decrepit white lawyers all over the place. And they're like, oh, is this her new sugar daddy? Tom Girardi's old friends. No, they're not her sugar daddies. They are people, in my personal opinion, that Tom Girardi has done fraud with. And they are basically thieves together, and they're just helping him out and funneling the money to her. And they set it up in a way so they can't trace it back to Tom or Erica. But to me, it's clear as day. It's Tom Girardi's stolen money that he's funneling to Erica. And that's how Erica still has glam. That's how Erica is doing residency in LA, paying for dancers, paying for Mikey, paying for them, even though she's talked about her downsized house. Well, your downsized house is a multi-million-dollar home. Usually when people think about downsize, they think about living in a 1-bedroom apartment with like 3 kids. Erica, you live by yourself in a multi-million-dollar house. So your downsize is a bit delusional in the real world. You're a single woman living in a multi-million-dollar home talking about you downsized. Shut the hell up, okay? Ugh, and that's also why she has all of her designer clothes and all of that stuff, okay? Now, the situation with her mom, the conversations about Tom in the court case were clearly very staged and very scripted, with her mom being like, "Oh, Erica, you went to that, law firm, 3 times in 20 years?" And she's like, "You have to stop this. You have to stop this talk." Clearly that was staged. Her mom is trying to, move Erica as far away from the fraud as possible and get her away from the fraud as far as possible, obviously. And then I also wanted to say that I think we talk about Monica Garcia from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and how she beefs with her mom and is so disrespectful and horrible. Now, Monica Garcia, you took notes from Jen Shaw. You need to take notes from Erica Girardi. This is how you get your mom on the show to push a narrative you want. And you can still beef with her in a lighthearted way without being super disrespectful. Like Erica definitely let it be known that her and her mom has kind of a contentious relationship, but yet her mom is still there, pushing a narrative that helps Erica, distancing her from Tom Girardi and the law firm, but she's not disrespecting her mother, which is very different from the energy we get from like Monica Garcia and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And I agree, Gigi's mama. Erica definitely set up the elevator with Sutton, and Sutton did a great impersonation of her. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. I do think Erica set up the elevator because weren't they in like a penthouse suite? And when you're in those types of hotels, when you have a certain level of, they're not in a regular smuggler hotel room, they have a penthouse suite. You need either a code or you need a particular key card that will only open the penthouse. Like when you stay in like fancy hotel rooms, you have private codes or you have key cards that give you access. So the only way that Erica's friends could have access to that elevator where it would successfully open to their penthouse is if they either had the key card or they had the code. You don't accidentally in these types of hotels get access to private luxury suites unless you are given specific access. So there's literally no way that Mikey and her friends, Erica's friends, accidentally got access to the penthouse. They had to have a code. So girl, bye. Girl, bye. Like, miss me with that. You clearly set Sutton up, and it clearly was a thing because, like I said, you're evil and you haven't, evolved. So Erica denies it, but I think she's lying. Logic would dictate unless you have the key card or code, you can't get elevator access to these private suites. Now, Erica was shook when she saw Jax, but I do think it was clear she didn't want any more smoke. You know what I'm saying? She saw Jax at Garcelle's Black Girl Missing premiere party. And Jax was amazing. He was such like a good little, not young adult because he's like 15. So he was a good teenager, a good, young boy. Good teenager, went up to her and just had so much integrity and so much composure and so much maturity. And it's just a testament to what a great mom Garcelle is. And I know Garcelle is going through it with her motherhood journey and the boys coming at her, but I think it's just a good testament to the type of mother that Garcelle is, right? Okay. Now, speaking of... Oh, this is a good point. Casey Hellcat says, Erica has no remorse for the victims, and I don't like to see her and Dorito. Needs to shut her mouth. They said she was wearing some of her jewelry that was reported stolen. I believe it. I believe it. And you know what? I think it's the next episode. Garcelle makes a very good point, too, where she's talking about jewelry. And she says, all I know about jewelry is that after Dorit's robbery, she still had hers. Very similar to Kyle. Remember when Kyle said that she had the robbery and all her jewelry was stolen, but then miraculously, she was wearing the jewelry, she was wearing the bags. So come on with it, with these insurance scams. And I agree. Very good point. Very good point. Okay, speaking of people who are evil, let's move on to this story about Lisa Rinna talking about the Fox 405, also talking about Teddi Mellencamp and whether or not she would do a Real Housewives Ultimate Girls trip with Lisa Vanderpump. And then we have from the horse's mouth, I also have a clip of Lisa Rinna talking about the faux Fox 5. Do I believe what she says? No, but I will play the clip and then we can see, we can talk about it together. Okay, so this is from Reality Blurb. It says Lisa Rinna spoke of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and her former castmates while appearing on Amazon Live last week. As the former cast member who announced her departure in January, aka Lisa Rinna got fired and not asked back, revealed which of her ex-co-stars she's closest to, offered an update on the Fox Force 5, and shared if she'd appear on the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls trip. Lisa also discussed husband Harry Hamlin's plans for Thanksgiving and confirmed whether or not she's watching season 13. I have not watched the show, Lisa said during a November 17th appearance on Amazon Live, but she's still in touch with her co-stars. I still have my Fox Force 5 text. We still have that text going. Don't think we don't. Yes, we do. Fox Force 5 is alive and kicking, she stated, adding, everybody hated that. They just wanted to tear us apart. It was so funny. They were just like, oh my God, we hate that. We just hate them. Tear them apart. Ha ha ha. Didn't work. This is the thing. I believe Lisa Rinna when she says that. I still think Lisa Rinna, Teddi Mellencamp, Ding Dong Darit, Evil Erica Jane, and Vile Kyle are all still on a text chain being evil as ever. Being as conniving, being as manipulative, being as, all of that stuff. I do think that they still are on the chain because they're all a bunch of bitter Betty sourpusses. All of them. And if you think about it, all of them are either separated, divorced, or in marriages that are just for show. Teddi and Edwin, like Teddi said, she thought that they were going to get divorced. And I personally think Teddi was the one who had the threesome with the guy, with that Garrett guy from F-Boy Island. I think it was Teddi and Kyle. And do I think Teddi and Edwin are happy? No. Rumor has it that Lisa Rinna and Harry Hamlin are separated. There's been rumors about them for years, what he does and what she does, and that they aren't actually together and it's just for show. Everybody knows about Kyle and Mauricio. Everybody knows about Dorit and PK. Everybody knows about Erica and Tom Girardi. They're just a bunch of bitter, sourpuss, miserable women who want to spread their misery to everybody else. So do I think they're still together? Yeah, because misery loves company. Okay, let's keep going. As Real Housewives of Beverly Hills fans will recall, the Fox Force 5 consists of Lisa Rinna, Kyle Richards, Erica Jane, Dorit Kemsley, and Teddi Mellencamp, and originated during their season 9 trip to Provence. We bonded over that. There were 5 of us trying to make a show, so we definitely bonded over that, she explained. When Lisa was then asked if she'd like to appear on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls trip, she shared her dream cast. Maybe the Fox Force 5, we add Nene, Bethany Frankel, and Lisa Vanderpump. That would be a great cast right there. Wouldn't that be wild? She wondered. Moving on to why she believes Teddi often faces fan backlash, Lisa said she doesn't quite get it. I think Teddi was one of the greatest housewives of all time. Nobody can ferret out the truth like Teddi Mellencamp, she noted. Anytime we forgot something or someone had called us out on something, you called Teddi and asked what happened here. And she knows everything. I love Teddi Mellencamp. Oh my God, Lisa. Everyone has their own opinion. I think to each his own. I will stand by saying I think Teddi is one of the best housewives we've ever had. Totally misunderstood, I think. She knows how to stir it. You need people who are not afraid to stir it. I'm not sure if anyone's over there stirring it right now. Otherwise, it's boring, she added. Also, during her Amazon Live appearance, Lisa shared Harry's plans for Thanksgiving. I don't think Harry is cooking. I think we're going to someone's house, she revealed. Harry Hamlin is in Canada cooking for his partner. Let's put it that way, okay? Anyway, Delilah is going to be at the farm in New York with her boyfriend. We just found out that Amelia is coming, so we don't know what we're doing. Lisa then gave a nod to Harry's new show. He has a new show coming out in December, so you have to watch it. Cooking with Harry Hamlin on AMC Plus. Oh, girl, bye, girl, bye. But let's hear it from the horse's mouth. And then I'm going to weigh in on where I think Lisa Rinna is lying in this clip. Okay, here we go.
I wore a dress. Those.
Who is Fox Force 5? Fox Force 5 is Teddi Mellencamp, Darit Kemsley, Erica Jane, Kyle Richards, and myself. And that came out of the trip to Provence that both Denise and Camille were supposed to go on that trip, and they had those horrible fires in Malibu, which was awful. So they ended up not being able to go, and it was just the 5 of us. And so, and then Vanderpump quit. So we didn't have her either. So we bonded over that. You know, there's 5 of us trying to make a show. And so we definitely bonded over that. So that's that story. That's some good tea for you guys, actually. Really good tea. Who is...
Okay, Lisa Rinna, shut up. Because number one, that's actually not good tea. Because number one, we already knew that. We already knew who the Fox Force 5 was. We already knew that you guys came up with your quote name in Provence. However, this is where I think she's lying. She's like, oh, and you know, Lisa Vanderpump quit, so we all bonded over that. Ha 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 ha. This is what I think actually happened. I think the Fox Force 5, the 5 of them, all came together and made a pact to try to kick Lisa Vanderpump off the show. That was why they formed. They wanted to get her off the show. That's why, in my opinion, they created Lucy Apple Goosey, the whole Puppygate situation. Then they all try to go after her, Teddi and Kyle and Darit and everybody. Like, oh, you're leaking stories to the press. They all leak stories to the press. I think they leaked that story to the press during a time where Lisa Vanderpump was very, very vulnerable because, unfortunately, her brother had just passed away. So she was grieving. She was mourning. She wasn't on her game because she's a human being who just lost her brother. You know what I'm saying? And they all came together. Now, they may have named themselves the Fox Force 5 in Provence, that may have given themselves a name, but that group had already formed with the mission to get Lisa Vanderpump off the show prior to Provence. That's why Lisa left the show, because they all came after her brother died. So they already had that mission. So whether or not that's what they officially called themselves, they were the faux Fox. I keep calling them the faux Fox 5 because they're all fake as hell. But they were the Fox Force 5, even without the name, because it was that particular group of women who had that one goal in mind. You see what I'm saying? So I think she's lying, saying that they were formed in Provence. Maybe they named themselves in Provence, but bye. Just miss me with all of that. Super sick, super gross, and all of that. Now, I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. Number one, do you think the only reason why Lisa is saying she likes Teddi Mellencamp is because, as we know, Teddi Mellencamp is a mouthpiece for Kyle, and Teddi has also been a mouthpiece for Lisa Rinna? I mean, remember when Lisa Rinna's mom passed away? And Lisa Rinna was like, how come I'm not getting, the grace that you wanted me to give LVP? And then Teddi was on her little stupid podcast like, oh, LVP wasn't even grieving her brother. They weren't even that close, and she didn't even let us know and all that stuff. And then everybody came out with the receipts. So as we know, Teddi has no problem being the mouthpiece of the group because other than that, she's irrelevant and going after people. And would you watch a Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip with Lisa Rinna and Teddi and Lisa Vanderpump, the full Fox 5, and everybody else? Let me know what you guys think. Put it down below. And be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's move on to Miss Garcelle. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Now, when it comes to Garcelle, I absolutely love seeing her relationship with her boys, her sons. I'm really here for it, okay? But I will say this about Garcelle. I want to see more of, I love the aspects of her life that we are seeing, like her being a producer, her being an actress, you know, the Black Girl Missing. It's such a great message. You know, she's boss babing it up. You know, she's producing it. She's acting in it. She's doing all of the things. I love seeing her relationship with her sons. You know, Jade is my type of person. He is ride or die loyal. He was like, who do we like and who are we avoiding? And I was like, Jade, you can come to the cookout, homie. Like, love you. You are my people, you know, because that's what I would do. I would be like, okay, so who do we like? Who do we don't like? Because I ride with you. You know what I'm saying? Love Jade. What I think is missing about Garcelle in her personal story, because I do love everything we're seeing. We're seeing her business, we're seeing her family. I don't know. I just feel like there's something more of her that I want. I don't know if it's dating. I don't know if it's like relationship stuff I want her to talk more about. Maybe more of her like single life or dating life. You know, is she secretly seeing someone? Is she not secretly seeing someone? I don't know. I just feel there's something missing in the romance department. Maybe she's just not focused on it. Maybe she's focused on, you know, being a mom and being a boss babe. Maybe that's it. I don't know, but I just kind of want something more when it comes to her romantic life, I think. I don't know, just kind of love it. But I loved seeing Denise Richards come to support her and interact with the other girls. Now, from all of the promos, Denise is wild at the next episode. She came in on one. She's wild. And I can't wait to see her go against Erica Jane. Can't wait to see it. Now, Garcelle is also giving, though, when it comes to the shade and it comes to her input on the ladies, particularly Darit. She's 100% correct about Darit taking on her feelings about her children and then weaponizing it against Garcelle. You know, like I said before when we talked about Darit, it was a classic Karen moment. Someone is coming to you with their hurt and their vulnerability, and then you turn it around and make it about you being hurt and gaslighting them like they're crazy for coming to you with it and making Garcelle feel like she has to apologize to you, which she definitely doesn't. Darit was all the way wrong. You know, Darit, if you want something to talk about the gambling, the $1 million in gambling debt. Talk about the bankruptcies. Talk about you not paying your at-home nurse and her having to sue you. Talk about your investors suing you for, you know, Beverly Beach. What happened to you designing, you know, swimwear? What happened to you designing wedding dresses? You know, what happened to any of your businesses, Darit? What job do you have? What is Darit's job? What is PK's job? Don't tell me it's managing people. That's a bunch of BS, okay? What do they do for work? Where is their money coming from? I know Darit gets her Bravo check, but what do they do for money? Where is their money coming from? Other than alleged insurance scams. So Darit, if you need something to talk about yourself because there's a lot to talk about, okay? The block is hot. You're broke, you know, and all this stuff. Talk about PK, what he does in London. Why is he always in London and not with you and the kids? So you want something to talk about, Darit, talk about your own life. Leave Garcelle alone. And I loved her analogy. And it's so funny because, again, over here with the candy canes, we predict everything. Last week, I said the same exact thing Garcelle said to Darit this episode. Remember last week, I said, oh, Darit, you're coming for Garcelle, saying that, oh, it's been over a year since that happened to you and your children, just get over it. But yet you're harping about your PTSD that happened over a year and a half ago. You know, that alleged robbery happened like a year and a half ago, and you're still harping over your PTSD. But I do want to preface that with this. People who genuinely suffer from PTSD, I'm not being insensitive or disrespectful to you because you can't put a timestamp on that. When you go through a truly traumatic experience, you can suffer from PTSD for the rest of your life. So I want to be very clear that people who are truly suffering from PTSD for any reason, for any traumatic experience, my heart goes out to you and I stand with you, and you take as long as you need to heal. I'm only coming for Darit's neck because I think she's lying about it. So I want to be very clear on that. I want to be very, very clear. I stand with people who have PTSD. I love you and I see you, and you take your time to heal. I'm just talking about Ding Dong Darit, who I think is lying through her teeth, okay? And I loved how Garcelle said that, because we said that last week. You know, you don't tell me how long I need to get over something when you're harping over a fake robbery that probably never even really happened. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. So I love that. But yeah, but when it comes to Garcelle, there's just a little bit something missing. I love she's a boss babe. I love her motherhood journey, you know, with her kids and everything. But I want to see Garcelle the woman herself. Because we see Garcelle mom, we see Garcelle boss babe, but what about Garcelle the woman? You know, what's up with the dating? What's up with, like, you know, living your best single girl life? You know, you come for Sutton, like Sutton said, she's like, let's get you a first date, because you come for Sutton because she can't get a second one, but like, are you getting a first one? You see what I'm saying? And I love you, Garcelle, I do. But also, Garcelle, you need to watch out for Miss Erica Jane. So as we all know, Garcelle and Erica seem to have a very budding friendship, a budding relationship. Do you guys think it's genuine? Do you not think it's genuine? I think, Garcelle, you better watch your back, because no matter what, Erica's not your friend. But according to page 6, Erica Jane is ending her beef with Garcelle Bouvet's son and says, quote, I was totally out of line. So Erica Jane and Garcelle Bouvet's 16-year-old son, Jax, ended their beef on Wednesday night's episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. The peace treaty was made during a screening of Bouvet's Lifetime movie, Black Girl Missing, where the high school student approached the Pretty Mess author. I just wanted to come and let you know that everything is okay, Jax said. Jax told Jane, who immediately offered an apology. Well, I apologize from the bottom of my heart, she said. I was totally out of line. I have said this to your mother, and I'm really happy for you to hear it from me. So please accept my apology. Jax gracefully replied, of course. Jane then told him that she was glad they could patch things up after she drunkenly cursed him out last season. I appreciate that, the Las Vegas entertainer added. Thank you. Jane praised Jax for the way he handled the situation in an in-swing confessional. What a class act this young man is to walk up and say, hey, no hard feelings, she said, before complimenting Bouvet as well. Garcelle, you've done a beautiful job. At the event, Jax told his mother that he buried the hatchet with Jane. I wish Erica, and this is a really good point that Garcelle makes. She says, I wish Erica had been the one to approach Jax because she's the adult. Exactly. Bouvet said in a confessional. The Coming to America actress, who shares Jax and his twin brother Jade with ex-husband Mike Nylon and son Oliver 32 with ex-husband Daniel Saunders, further noted that Jane was the one in the wrong. I agree with this 100%. Number one, anytime there is a dynamic between adult and child, it is always, and I mean always, the adult's responsibility to make things right. But what I mean by that is, obviously not in the situation because Erica as the adult was in the wrong. But what I'm saying is, even if the child is, quote, in the wrong or did something wrong, it's the adult's responsibility to create the environment for the child to take responsibility for what they did. If the child is in the wrong because they are the adult, right? Now, in this situation, it's the adult that is in the wrong. I agree with Garcelle. Erica should have been the one to come up to Jax. And it should have happened way before now. It should have happened before the cameras were rolling. It should have happened privately and publicly. Because I am one person that I'm like, if you disrespect me in public, you need to make amends in public. So you disrespected my child in public, you need to make amends with him in public. But she should have done that privately and publicly. And I agree, it should not take the child to be the adult in the situation. But then again, we're dealing with Erica Jane here, who's an evil child herself. So there you go. Added Blvd, but I'm glad Jax felt confident enough to go and talk to her himself. Yes, and I love that he also got Crystal to come with him to like back him up. I loved that. Jane drew ire of viewers after she spoke so poorly of then 14-year-old Jax at Blvd's birthday party, which aired on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 12. I understand we were all having a good time at my birthday party. I understand that your liquor level was beyond, Blvd told Jane at the time. Under no circumstances, though, can you disrespect not only a kid, but my kid. Damn right, you go, Garcelle. The expensive singer wasted no time saying sorry to Blvd. Side note, you guys. Did you notice, because they did the flashback, this is how I know Erica, yes, Erica was drunk when she cussed out Jax, but she also did it purposely. And she also, and I wish I had the clip, but I'm gonna describe the clip to you guys so you know what I'm talking about. She did it purposely, and Darit was in on it, and Darit knew. Go back and watch, I think it was actually this scene, this episode, when Garcelle is talking to Darit at the premiere, and they do the flashback of when Erica cusses out Jax, and she's sort of like laughing and hugging Darit. And she's in Dorit's ear, and, you know, production has, they're mic'd up. So they have the microphone audio, and then they also have the subtitles. And Erica says something like, she was trying it. You know, Garcelle was trying it. She kept trying it. So to me, that means that clearly, and remember, this was the time of Lisa Rinna, for Fox 5. Clearly, Kyle, Darit, Erica, Lisa Rinna, they were all gunning for Garcelle, and they did not like her. And they were all clearly talking crap about her. And when Erica was saying to Darit in the ear, and Darit was laughing and muffled and being like, stop, but still laughing, she was trying it. She was trying it. To me, that means you cussed out her son because you were pissed at Garcelle, which means, yeah, you're drunk, but you have the wherewithal of mind that you chose to cuss out her son because you wanted to go after her. When you are drunk out of your mind, blacked out, you would just cuss somebody out and then the next moment be like, what are you talking about? La, 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 la. And then be like laughing and going off somewhere. You wouldn't sit there with Darit and say in her ear, she kept trying it, she kept trying it, she kept trying it. To me, that means you purposely did that to her child because you wanted to hurt her, because you were pissed that Garcelle was a fan favorite, and you were pissed that Garcelle didn't stoop to your level, and she called you out and she shaded the hell out of you guys. And you were pissed that Garcelle was the queen of the show and you weren't. If you don't believe me, go back and watch it. And I wish I would have grabbed it, but it just came up to me right now as we're talking. Go back and watch it. And Darit is laughing because she knows exactly what Erica is talking about. So Darit, you're wrong for that. You can go to hell, and so can Erica Jane. Okay? Oof. Oof, oof, oof. Okay. I agree and take full responsibility. And you know what? I was crap talking and treating the kids like they were adults, and I was wrong. So I fully apologize, Erica said. I also want to say this. It didn't come from a bad place. It wasn't vicious, she elaborated. It was just wrong. Well, as I just explained, that is a lie. It was vicious, and it was from a bad place. Go back and watch the clip, and you see Erica and Darit laughing and talking about it, okay? But I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below before you like, subscribe, and share. You know, what do you think about this budding friendship between Erica and Garcelle? I think Garcelle, you better watch your back. Don't trust Erica. Erica is just doing reputation rehab. Girl, you in danger. You in danger. All right. Now let's move on to Sutton. So to me, Sutton is the MVP of the show. She is the queen of the show. I am absolutely living and loving Miss Sutton. So Sutton gathered Kyle. I mean, absolutely gathered her, okay? So when she said, what's going on with you? Kyle left with the absolute quickness. Oh, you want to go there? We can go there. And then Sutton was like, name them. Let's go there. And then Kyle got all the way up and left in a huff and a puff because she didn't want to go there and talk about all of the rumors and what's going on in her life that's crumbling and cracking, okay? I am 100% living for Sutton. She is like a dog with a bone, and she's going to come for Kyle's neck. And the reason why she's going to keep coming for Kyle's neck is because I think Sutton feels betrayed by Kyle. I think Sutton thought that they were actually friends, and she is quickly realizing that Kyle is not her friend. As she said, our friendship is a farce. You're not my friend. You don't have my back. You never have, and you never will. And I also think that Sutton is going through something herself. And I think she's in a vulnerable place and she feels picked on. I do think that Sutton is very lonely. And I think she wants to find love. And I think that she's also going through something because, you know, you can have all the money in the world and all the privilege and all the access in the world. But if you feel that you're missing, you know, love and romantic companionship, that can make you sad. And as human beings, you know, material things and money doesn't always equate to being fulfilled and happy in other areas of your life. And I do think that Sutton is sad and I think she's lonely. And by sad, I don't mean like she's a sad person, pathetic. I don't mean that at all. Like, oh, you're a sad person. I don't mean it that way. I mean, I think like she's sad and I do think she's lonely and I think she's looking for love, you know, as we all do. You know, when we're done being single and we're ready for love, we all have that loneliness and that longing and that wanting to find a partner. It's very normal and it's very natural. And I think that's why she's doing all of the retail therapy, buying the horse Santos and, you know, doing all of that stuff. It's almost like, you know, people who have a void, either they fill it with shopping, they fill it with sex, they fill it with food, they fill it with gambling, they fill it with booze, they fill it with drugs, you know, looking to fill whatever hole they have with something. And I think for Sutton, it's like that retail therapy because she has money to burn, you know? And I love seeing Sutton and Jennifer Tilly together. I think it's just a vibe. I'm so here for it. Like I want to do brunch. Like I'm manifesting it. When I have a boozy brunch with Sutton and Jennifer Tilly, I will live stream it and it's going to be such a vibe because I love them. And I think Jennifer is spot on about Kyle. Kyle is trying to gain control in her life. You know, I will say this: the cows come home. I think the majority of Kyle's problem is that when her childhood friend passed away by her own hand, I think that really blew up Kyle's world and it really shook her up. And that's a lot of shock. That's a lot of pain. That's a lot of trauma. That's a lot of identity shifting. You know, when something like that happens, you question who you are and what you're doing in your life when those big moments happen, you know? So I think that Kyle is trying to get some control in her life because something so big happened that she had no control over, you know? So I agree with Jennifer said about that. And she's also spot on about Kathy. I do think that Kyle is jealous and resentful of Sutton because Sutton is such good friends with Kathy. She even said it in the first episode. Oh, you know, Sutton's friends with Kathy because Kathy throws the best parties, blah, 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 blah. No, Sutton's friends with Kathy because Kathy's just like a nice, normal, funny human being. And she isn't so weird like you are, Kyle. Kyle, you're a mean person. You know, I go back and watch some episodes with Kyle, and Kyle's mean. Even this episode. In the last episode, she called Sutton a bitch first. The Vegas, she called Sutton a bitch first. But then Sutton was the one who ended up apologizing for it when she called her one back. But Kyle never apologized. Kyle is actually very mean and is very nasty. What's going on with you, Sutton? Like, she's very mean. The way she treats Mauricio, very, very mean and nasty. The way she's treated Kathy, the way she treated her sister Kim, the way she treated Lisa Vanderpump, the way she's treated a lot of people. Looking at it, Kyle is really mean. She's a very mean and nasty person. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's what's going on with Kyle and Kathy and Sutton and all of that stuff. But I'm living for Sutton. She's a moment. She's a beat. I love it. I hope her and Garcelle's friendship continues to grow. I hope Garcelle continues to have her back and not sort of backslide with that. from pressure of other people. So I hope that continues to grow, but we'll see. Now, let's talk about Miss Crystal. I. Okay, Crystal. This is what's going on with Crystal, in my opinion. Number one, I want Crystal to show her life because she's making her entire storyline about asking the other women about their lives and about her brother. I don't know if it's because her brother needs some type of, I don't know, boost in his K-pop music career that he needs to be on the show. But Crystal, what is going on in your life? Like, I want to see you invite over your Beverly Hills, ladies who lunch and throw a boozy bunch for all of your friends. I want to see you going on fun shopping sprees and buying clothes and handbags and jewelries. I want to see you gassing up the private jet and going to fun places. I want to see you having fun and living a decadent, luxurious life. But like, you're boring. I like what your brother's life is interesting. He didn't end his engagement because of the distance and COVID. He ended his engagement because he chose you and his mother over his fiance. And if I was the fiance, I would have dumped him too. You're not about to become my husband, and we're in the middle of a global pandemic where people are dropping like flies left and right, and you abandon me and then expect me to say I do. You lost your mind. You've lost the plot. So kudos to his ex-fiance. I would have done the same thing. You're not going to have the privilege of being my husband after you abandon me. Just like Crystal's husband, Rob, said, he needs to break away, become his own man, and start his own nuclear family. But you can't do that when you're catering to mommy and big sis or little sis. I don't know who's older. When you're catering to mommy and sissy, it's not going to happen. There's no way you abandon me in the middle of a pandemic and then expect me to marry you. You've lost the plot. So that's really what's going on there. But what is going on with Crystal herself? I want to see more of it was a moment to see her and Rob's interaction, but what's going on in her life? As we know in the episodes coming up, it's going to be more of Crystal versus Anne-Marie. She's already foreshadowing it, saying that Anne-Marie talks a lot, that she's super nosy, that she wants all the information, all of that stuff. So maybe we'll get more of Crystal in the rest of the season. She did say, I think at BravoCon, that at the middle to end of the season, she's shown way more. She becomes more of a primary character. But at this point, I'm just like, I don't know if it's Crystal not giving or if it's production editing her out. Because it could be that too. It could be she's not giving, or it could be production is editing her out, because they definitely edited her out in the beginning of this season. She's barely a friend of, and we're in episode 5. You see what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens with the beef with her as that comes out. But Crystal, if you hear this, we want more of your life. Even if it's you beefing with your Beverly Hills friends or just having fun keys, that doesn't necessarily have to be other housewives. But what is your life, Crystal? What do you do? I want to see you lunching with the girls. I want to see you throwing really fun parties. I want to see you going out. You're the youngest one on the show, but you're the boring, flattest one on the show. Do something. Sutton is out here buying horses. You know what I'm saying? Garcelle is out here producing movies. Even Kyle is out here having mental breakdowns. What are you doing, Crystal? What are you doing? Show up and show out, okay? Show up and show out. Now, speaking of Anne-Marie, do I want to go to her? No, let's go to Kyle next. Okay, let's go to Kyle. So let's get into Kyle. Kyle is literally having a nervous breakdown right in front of our faces. Literally right in front of our faces. And at this point, it's not funny anymore. It's actually just really hard to watch You know what I mean? It's just really, really super hard to watch. Now, I think she needs some professional help. And I said this at the beginning of the video, and I'm gonna repeat it now that we're on her slide. I think currently, and by currently I mean like literally like today, I think Kyle probably is getting some professional help, maybe a therapist, maybe a team of them in that situation. I do think that Kyle present day is probably getting a lot more help. And I think that her and Mauricio, this is my prediction, will reconcile in about 3 months. 6 months max. But I think in about 3 months, they'll probably reconcile. And I do think that she's getting some deep help that she really, really needs. And when I say that, I don't mean any shade by it. I'm not being shady. I'm not being funny. It's not a kiki. I'm coming from a place of a human being that we're looking at someone who is literally cracking. All of the weight loss, all of the choosing to not drink, which I think is really great. Like she says, if I have 2 glasses of wine the next day, I am down and I'm depressed and I cannot afford to be depressed right now. I saw some headlines where I think they got it completely wrong. They're like, Kyle says she can't drink amid marital stress. No. Kyle not drinking has nothing to do with her marriage. I think Kyle not drinking has everything to do with the fact that she knows if she drinks, she's going to get really depressed. And I think what she meant by I can't afford to be that depressed right now is because of the loss of her friend due to her mental illness and by her own hand. You know what I mean? That is what Kyle is referring to. I don't think Kyle saying she's not drinking right now has anything to do with marital strife at all. And it blows my mind that these big publications like People Magazine are just getting it so wrong. And it's so dangerous how wrong they're getting it. Equating her not drinking to, her acting differently and marriage problems and falling out with friends. I think if she were drinking, it would be even worse. And I commend Kyle, even though, we love to clown her over here, but in all seriousness, I commend her for not drinking and for saying, hey, listen, I'm in a really shaky place right now, mentally and emotionally, and I can't drink right now. I commend her for doing that. Can you imagine how she would be if she was drinking? Also, I think that when it comes to the weight loss, I think 2 things. One, I do think the weight loss is attention-seeking behavior because she wants Mauricio's attention. She wants, pay attention to me, prioritize me, see me, worry about me, But then on the flip side, I think that the addiction to the exercise is also a part of her taking care of her own mental wellness, because when you exercise, you do get that endorphin hit. You do feel better. You get that mental clarity. You feel better about yourself. When you go for runs and you exercise, or you go for a walk, or you go for a jog, or you do weights or yoga or Pilates, whatever your vibe is, you do feel better mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So I do think her workout routine is a part of her mental health wellness routine. So I'm not going to knock her for working out. I think it only becomes problematic is when you do it excessively. You can do it routinely and you can do it religiously. Like every day you're doing X, Y, and Z. But when you do it to the place of excess, that's when it gets in a little bit of a dangerous territory. But I do think her not drinking and her workouts is a way for her to take care of herself mentally. So I'm here for that. But I think the excessiveness of it and the weight loss is for attention. Same thing with the tattoos. Same thing with the being mean and acting out and being difficult and all of that, particularly with Mauricio. And then the whole fake lesbian relationship with Morgan. To me, that's all attention-seeking behavior. So I think when she says, I can't have 2 glasses of wine because the next day I'm down and depressed and I can't afford to be depressed right now, I don't think that has anything to do with her marriage. I think that has everything to do with her own mental well-being, given the fact of what happened with her friend. And then on top of that, everything else, then yes, the marriage issues, yes, the cheating allegations, yes, the Kathy fallout, all of that stuff, right? Yes, the lawsuits Mauricio has, these $1 million lawsuits, yes. But I think the core of it is the friend passing away, right? So that's what I really think is going on with her. Now, this is the thing. When it comes to the quote, cheating rumors, because that's all they say. Oh, in the tabloids, there are cheating rumors. I'm tired of this generic quote, cheating rumors blanket statement. I want specifics, okay? I am on my petty girl mission. I'm 1-800-CALL Candy Petty right now. Listen, I want specifics. I want them to address, Kyle, are you having sex with Morgan Wade? Because if you are cheating on your husband. Everybody talks about Mauricio cheating, but is Kyle cheating? Then the whole Mauricio cheating rumors. I need specifics. I'm petty as hell right now. I want them to ask the question, ding dong Darit, did you have sex with Mauricio? Did you have sexual relations with your best friend's husband? I need them to ask Mauricio, did you have sexual relations with your wife's best friend, ding dong Darit? I want specifics. I'm tired of this blanket cheating rumors. No, we know what the rumors are. Can we address them? Because how are we acting like the world is not questioning if Darit and Mauricio smashed? That is the elephant in the room. And I'm sorry, but it's not because, we don't believe in coincidence with the candy canes. We only believe in conspiracy. I don't think it is a coincidence that right after there is a huge rumor that Darit and Mauricio are having an affair, that both Kyle and Mauricio separate, and then months later, Darit and PK separate. Because as we know, they're living separate lives, and they're pretty much headed for divorce too. We've done tons of videos on PK and Darit marriage falling apart. He's living in the Beverly Hills hotel, not even living at the house anymore. He was spotted without his wedding ring. Allegedly, he was cheating on her the night he got the DUI, and there was a woman in the car with him. And, Darit made it very clear she's pretty much not sexually attracted to him anymore, and that she doesn't trust him with the kids, and that he isn't there to support her. And we all know about their financial problems. So is it a like Nene says, is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence? I don't know. Is it a coincidence? Probably not. Also, that Kyle and Darit's friendship clearly no longer exists and is literally hanging on by a thread just for the show. You can tell they don't talk anymore and they don't hang out anymore and they're not really friends anymore. But yet you want to play in our faces like it's just, quote, cheating rumors, when the rumor is one housewife was having sex with another housewife's husband. Not just husband, but her husband's best friend, because PK and Mauricio were really good friends. And not just them being best friends, but you were best friends with the other housewife. To me, that is the single most juiciest storyline that we should be doing a deep dive on every single freaking episode of this television show. And that, to me, is what is missing this season. You cannot have Kyle having a mental, nervous breakdown in front of our face, separating from Mauricio, PK and Darit clearly living separate lives, having all their friendships fall apart, and just say, oh, Mauricio cheating rumors. There has been Mauricio cheating rumors every single season of this show from season 1. You don't believe me? Go back and watch. We need to talk about it. That is the elephant in this entire season. That's why the season is missing something. It's missing that. You can't play in our faces like this. This is literally the juiciest storyline ever. I need a conversation on camera where Kyle is looking Darit in her eyes and ask her, did you sleep with my husband? That would be television freaking gold. I need PK to look in Mauricio's face and say, did you sleep with my wife? That would be television gold. That would make this season freaking epic. But the fact that no one is actually talking about it is a problem. is a problem. And that is why this season kind of isn't really working. It's heating up. We're getting little spits and spats here, but nobody's talking about what the actual issue is. Like, for example, when Sutton says, "What's going on with you?" Let's talk about it. I'm sorry, Sutton, why wouldn't you say, "Are you losing your freaking mind because you're worried that Mauricio had sex with Darit?" Is that what's going on here? How are they not talking about it in a very straightforward way? I'm confused. I'm confused. I'm confused. Like, it's crazy to me. And that's what's missing. That's what's making this season not click, because it is such a big elephant that nobody's actually talking about. Okay? Now let's talk about a bigger elephant that people are talking about. Okay. Let's talk about this very alarming and sad story that broke. And this is a trigger warning for anyone who knows someone or has personally been affected by sexual assault. This is a trigger warning for that. But we are going to talk about the allegations with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills newcomer Anne-Marie Wiley's husband, Marcellus. He has been accused of sexually assaulting someone in 1994. So we are going to get into it. And before we do, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So here we go. Just as a little background information, the way that Anne-Marie is going to be introduced into the show is going to be as a friend of Kyle's. If they are truly friends in real life, I don't know. If this is a diversity hire for Beverly Hills, maybe, maybe not, who knows. But I personally never really liked Anne-Marie. Honestly, it was like a gut feeling, just energetically. I've never even heard her speak, but I just never really, I don't know. There's just something that was always just off for me. And again, as a little bit of backup, as a little bit of background, Kyle is definitely going to use Anne-Marie as her mouthpiece to go after Crystal this season. But with that, let's dive into the allegations that her husband is now facing. Okay. Now, this is according to page 6. And again, trigger warning for anybody who has dealt with sexual assault. Okay. The husband of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills newcomer Anne-Marie Wiley has been accused of the R word in a new lawsuit. A student who attended Columbia University at the same time as Marcellus Wiley nearly 3 decades ago sued him on Tuesday in the New York Supreme Court under the Adult Survivors Act, alleging that he attacked her in the fall of 1994 when he was a sophomore and star football player. According to the lawsuit, which was obtained by the Post, Marcellus allegedly forced himself on the woman in her freshman dorm room. The woman alleged that Marcellus ignored her verbal objections and took her virginity, which claimed later drove her to attempt to take her own life. Wiley's actions were intentionally designed to cause plaintiffs severe emotional distress or were taken with reckless disregard of the significant and or substantial probability of causing the plaintiffs severe emotional distress, her lawsuit states. The woman, a professor and psychologist with a focus on race and culture, claimed she and Marcellus were friends when he invited himself to her dorm, allegedly telling her he wanted to eat dinner together and listen to music. She allegedly told Marcellus that she was a virgin and not interested in having sex with him, but she claimed he laughed in response and said, "Ain't nobody trying to have sex with no virgin. Don't worry, I got you. Just coming to hang out while I eat. I don't even have condoms on me." However, the woman alleged that the 250-pound athlete almost immediately ripped off her clothes when he got there and forced her face down onto the mattress. She claimed she could barely breathe and feared for her life as Marcellus allegedly took advantage of her in a sexual way multiple times. According to her suit, she managed to get away from Marcellus, but he allegedly verbally threatened and physically yanked her back into bed for another round. Marcellus denied the woman's claims in a lengthy YouTube video on Wednesday. The hour-long video started off with a slate and text that read, "Big media is reckless and irresponsible to run with any story that is a flat-out lie. Everyone should be innocent until proven guilty, and in my case, you know the guilty party ain't happening. The guilty part ain't happening. That's why I'm a partner with Brinks TV." That is so disgusting and narcissistic. Horrible. Later on in the video, Marcellus said, "If you're a virgin, I'm not going to be your first because I'm not looking at it with the same respect, esteem, honor that you should. We did mess around, but no vaginal intercourse," he initially insisted. Later, he admitted that they did have sex. So he's already caught in a lie. He already said, "Oh, we messed around, but no intercourse." And then later on, he admitted they had sex. So you've already lied, sir. Anyway, Marcellus went on to accuse the woman of talking trash and spreading lies to help her cope with the shame she felt for cheating on her boyfriend at the time. "She felt ashamed to mess with me when she got caught. She didn't feel ashamed inviting me over. She only felt shame when she knew there was no future with me," he claimed. Now listen. Of course, these are allegations. Of course, innocent until proven guilty. However, hypothetically speaking, usually when someone is a predator, they victim shame. Victim shaming sounds like this. "She wasn't ashamed when she invited me over to her place." Well, why did you let him in your apartment? Why did you let him in your room? Victim shaming sounds like this. "I don't want to, why would I want to have sex with a virgin? I'm not going to respect that the way you should." Victim shaming sounds like this. "Oh, she was ashamed she got caught messing around with me because she had a boyfriend." All of that sounds like blaming the victim for what you did. Again, these are allegations. I'm talking hypothetically, okay? Don't come for me, Marcellus. You don't want it. You don't want this. You don't want this smoke, okay? You don't want it, homie. I'm just saying, hypothetically, that's what this sounds like, okay? Again, innocent until proven guilty. These are allegations. But this sounds like a lot of victim shaming. And then you already yourself got caught in a lie. "We didn't have sex." No, we did have sex. Okay. So you're admitting you did have sex with this woman. Was it consensual? That remains to be seen. Also sounds like victim shaming. "Oh, well, once she knew that there was no future with me, then she tried to talk about me. Then she tried to, spread lies about me because she couldn't get with me. She didn't have a future with me." Boy, bye. In her lawsuit, the woman said she confided in a friend about the alleged attack and then reported it to several Columbia University administrators, all of whom allegedly displayed fondness for the then NFL hopeful. One of the administrators allegedly showed the woman's victim statement to Marcellus, who just disagreed that it's the R word. The woman also claimed that the administrator told her that she had misunderstood the encounter because she was born in Africa and Marcellus was American, and people from different cultures interpret things differently. I don't think there's any culture that misinterprets somebody attacking them when they are not consenting to it. Okay? Marcellus, who also claimed in his YouTube video that he would countersue for defamation, received minimal punishment. Of course, he's going to countersue for defamation. That's just like Erica Jane appealing for legal reasons. Like, that's the most basic thing that people do to try and get out of being accountable. He was placed on academic probation in order to complete the spring 1995 semester from his home in Los Angeles. He then returned to the New York City campus and the team. The woman and the friend who encouraged her to report the incident allegedly received harassing phone calls in the months that followed. In the spring of 1996, the woman said she tried to end her life, after which she was admitted to a locked hospital ward for 2 weeks before being released. She claimed she and Marcellus were later forced to share classes together. The woman later became active in the university's chapter of Take Back the Night, an organization that focuses on ending sexual relationship and domestic violence, where she allegedly met other women who claimed they were R-word sexually taken advantage of without their consent by the same man. So not only is she saying it, but she's saying that there were other women, other girls who made the same exact claims against the same exact person. Okay. Columbia was named in her lawsuit over allegations of negligence and reckless failure to protect its students from sexual predators. This is very much echoing Real Housewives of Potomac, Juan Dixon, in the sense of not that Juan was named as the predator himself, but that Juan was complicit in covering up the sexual assault of a student. Okay. Now, again, trigger warning for everything we're talking about. If you or someone you know is affected by this, I will put a hotline and a link in the description box for support if anybody needs it. There is no shame or embarrassment in seeking support. You know, if you or someone you know needs it, please reach out. And we love you and we're here for you. We see you and we believe you. This is a very hard topic to talk about, so be gentle with yourself, okay? Reps for the university did not immediately respond to requests for comments. Marcellus went on to play in the NFL as a defensive end for 10 seasons with the Buffalo Bills, San Diego Chargers, Dallas Cowboys, and Jacksonville Jaguars. He married Anne Marie, a certified registered nurse anesthesiast, in 2014. They shared 3 children in addition to Marcellus' eldest from a previous relationships. The Wileys have yet to make their debut on The Real Housewives season 13, which is currently airing. Now, again, we saw teases of Anne Marie making her debut in the next episode, obviously going against Crystal because she is Kyle's mouthpiece. This is the thing. I wonder if Bravo is going to edit Anne Marie and her husband in any way this upcoming season, giving this breaking news. I don't know. It will be interesting to see if they do. I haven't heard Bravo make a statement about this or come out with anything. We know he made his, in my personal opinion, a very victim shaming statement, and he made his little YouTube video. So it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Now, this is from By Wig Hello Drama. It says, after you read each slide, come read this. Wiley went on to join the Buffalo Bills after being selected in the second round of the 1997 draft. He played in the NFL for 10 seasons for multiple teams. After his final season in 2006, Wiley worked for ESPN's NFL Live before co-hosting the network Sports Nation before moving to Fox Sports and FS1. He was allegedly nominated for a score of alumni awards in the years after his graduation, some of which were diverted by the plaintiff, who was working for Columbia as the associate director of the University Center for the Core Curriculum. The school reportedly relented to her objections over fear of negative press. Columbia was named in the lawsuit over accusations for negligence and reckless failure to protect its students from sexual predators. Now, this gives credence to what the plaintiff is saying. If she has the pull and power to get this man, who by all intents and purposes should be a very decorated alumni for Columbia University. He played for 10 years in the NFL. He is a host for ESPN and for Sports Nation. You know, those are huge accolades that could bring a lot of attention and a lot of money and a lot of donors and sponsorships to Columbia University. The fact that she is able to have him diverted from getting these accolades and awards gives credence to what she says. Because if what she was saying had no validity to it, why would Columbia University heed to her objections for him being celebrated? that would be like, no, what you're saying doesn't, that there's no validity to that. We're going to celebrate this man. We're going to give him awards. We're going to praise him. We're going to do galas, and we're going to do all this stuff because having him as our alumni would bring us money. And trust me, at the end of the day, that's what they want. They wanted him there because they wanted him to win championships. They wanted him to win football games. They want the money. They want the prestige. They want the awards, right? So, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Again, these are allegations. He has denied them, in my opinion, in a very victim-shaming way. But what do you guys think? Do you think that these allegations should affect Anne-Marie and her husband's presence on the show? Or do you think, no, they're just allegations. Until proven guilty, it shouldn't affect them on the show? What do you guys think? Me, my personal opinion, I didn't like Anne-Marie from jump. She just seemed like a pick-me. She seemed like a mouthpiece for Kyle. It just seemed like a very odd casting in the first place. Like, I didn't believe that her and Kyle were actually friends at all. It just seemed really weird to me. And energetically, I have said, and you guys can go back and listen to my past videos about this. I just said that I felt something was very off about her and I wasn't vibing with her already. And now with these allegations, it just makes it even worse. I personally always believe victims. I do. If somebody says something happened to them, I believe them, particularly with all of this stuff. But again, allegations. But what do you guys think about this? Put it down below what you think and what do you think should happen with the casting and all of that stuff. And again, if you or someone has been dealing with this, please be sure to reach out for help, and I will leave that linked down below. Okay. All right. Let's move on to something a little bit lighter. Let's talk about Teddi Mellencamp being fired from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and Alex Baskin, who is a executive producer on the show, weighing in as to why she got fired. Okay, let's talk about it. And then I also have the clip from 2 T's in a Pod that we can also listen to as well. So this is according to Reality Blurb. It says, Teddi Mellencamp and Tamra Judge welcomed Real Housewives of Beverly Hills executive producer Alex Baskin to their podcast earlier this month, where Teddi questioned Alex about why she was fired. Just over 3 years ago, after she took to her Instagram page to share that she had been axed after 3 seasons, Teddi asked Alex about the decision. Why did I get fired? Teddi asked on the November 10th episode of 2 T's in a Pod, as Tamra said, oh crap. Oh God, that's tough, Alex admitted. In yours, I think there was a strong audience reaction. So I do think that was part of it. Not going to deny that. And I also think that you were self-conscious. Now, this is the thing, okay? Did the audience have a harsh reaction to Teddi? Yeah, she wasn't a fan favorite. She came across, in my opinion, very produced. And also, I think also a problem with Teddi is that she didn't have her own personality. When you are simply a mouthpiece of Kyle, of Lisa Rinna, we already have Darit for that. So Teddi didn't really have her own personality. So why would we connect with Teddi on any level when she wasn't being her authentic self? And also, like she said, she was hiding stuff because her and Eddie, in her own words, she thought that they were going to get divorced. And then she's pretending like they're all happy families, right? But it's just a mess. It's just a mess. Okay. Right away, Tamra of the Real Housewives of Orange County agreed, telling Alex she's very in her head. Side note, shut up, Tamra. I can't stand Tamra. Tamra's another one. Tamra, you aren't telling the truth about your life. Is Eddie cheating on you? Are you cheating on Eddie? You came in on the Real Housewives of Orange County like a bat out of hell, losing your freaking mind, throwing Heather Dubrow under the bus, lying left, right, and center. You're just a weirdo, Tamra. Although Teddi wasn't kept around for the 11th season, Alex said that he and his team actually appreciated what Teddi brought to the show. The production always had your back, was a big fan of yours because you would say things that other people were thinking and wouldn't say. He noted before adding, I think it felt like then on that show, you weren't comfortable in your own skin. I think that was the issue. Yeah, Teddy replied. Yeah, production had your back because you were Kyle's puppet, and production always had Kyle's back. Kyle, up until last season, always got a very curated, good edit. The production was always up Kyle's butt. That's why Kyle was delusional and thought she was a fan favorite. Kyle has never been a fan favorite. She's an Andy Cohen favorite. She's a producer puppet, but she's never been a fan favorite. So when you throw somebody in the mix like a Teddy or a Darit who don't have their own personalities and they just are puppets for people who are already not liked, yet they're not as protected, then yeah, you get the backlash because Kyle's protected by Andy, Kyle's protected by production. We, the audience, don't like them. But then you have someone like a Teddy who is just their puppet, then yeah, the audience is going to like them even less. You see what I'm saying? Even less. Ugh. In October of 2022, 1 month after confirming her exit from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Teddy explained why she believed she was cut from the show. I think it's because you didn't see a lot of me other than in drama this year, Teddy told Us Weekly on her Getting Real with the Housewives podcast. If you only see me when I'm in an argument, it's hard to see the whole picture. I wish we could have seen more of the fun stuff, but it's a TV show. Years later, on the Melissa Gorga's On Display podcast, Teddy gave another reason, suggesting producers didn't like how much she changed during her time on the series. I think my very first season, I started out, I'm just going to be blunt with it. I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't have much money, she said. I dressed differently. I did everything differently. I couldn't get glammed, none of that stuff, because you know how much you get paid your first season as a housewife. Teddy also admitted to sending an angry text to producers weeks prior to getting the boot. At the end of this season, I was mad. I texted was, I've trended on Twitter every single week from hate, and you aren't giving me anything else but the negative. Please, I'm doing the work. I'm showing up. I need you to show my life in some other capacity. Teddy recalled on her podcast, and ultimately the goodbye happened 2 weeks later. I was completely confused. Okay, Teddy, well, what is it? You got fired because you didn't have any money and you didn't have glam your first season? You got fired because you were always in an argument? You got fired because why? You got fired because the audience, you didn't land with the audience, basically is why you got fired, I think. That's why. But let's hear it from the horse's mouth, what Alex Baskin had to say. You guys know my issues with Alex Baskin. I'm not a huge Alex Baskin fan personally.
Why'd I get fired?
Oh, God. That's tough. In yours, I think there was strong audience reaction to you.
Yeah.
So I do think that was part of it. I'm not going to
Mhm.
deny that. And I also think that you were self-conscious.
Yeah.
She's very in her head.
The production always had your back, was a big fan of yours because you would say things that other people were thinking and wouldn't say. I think it felt like then on that show, you weren't comfortable in your own skin. I think that was the issue.
Yeah. Now, don't forget, this is the same Alex Baskin who is a executive producer on Vanderpump Rules. He has a reputation, let's say, for protecting his favorites. This is the same Alex Baskin who allegedly protected Tom Sandoval and Jax and Tom Schwartz all during Vanderpump Rules, during Scandoval and all of that. Because don't forget, people always think Andy Cohen is an executive producer of Vanderpump Rules. That's not true. He's not. Alex Baskin is. So this is the tea. Alex Baskin, and there's another producer. I forgot what his name is. He's no longer producing on Beverly Hills. But these two producers, they would always protect Kyle. Always protect Kyle. Alex Baskin and Lisa Vanderpump got together to produce Vanderpump Rules. See what I'm saying? The other producer, whose name I forgot, his name's like Peter or something like that. He also used to be a producer on The Real Housewives of Orange County. This is the producer that allegedly Heather Dubrow pushed into a wall. And he subsequently quit the Real Housewives of OC and Beverly Hills. And that's why Kyle was so pissed this season and last season, because that producer left. So she was getting a different edit. We were seeing more of her meltdowns, of her being nasty. She was being edited in a very different light because her favorite producers left the show. Alex Baskin is still a producer on Vanderpump Rules and on Beverly Hills. And he has been known to protect certain people. Stassi Stroder said this on the Call Her Daddy podcast that she did with Alex Cooper. She confirmed what we all knew, that production would show the girls in a certain light, but they would always protect the boys. Very similar to Lisa Vanderpump, how she always protects the boys, but she's very quick to throw the girls under the bus. So these producers are the ones who, just like Alex admitted, oh, production really liked you and protected you and all of that stuff. So when you're in with the producers, they have the power to give you certain edits. They have the power to protect you in certain ways, because the housewives and the reality stars, they're always like, oh, it's production. I get edited. Yes and no. Sometimes people just have piss poor behavior and they're just acting a fool and you got what you got. But sometimes production does edit you in ways that is not favorable, or they protect you and edit you in ways that is favorable, right? People always talk about that. Oh, it was a bad edit, or some people are being protected and some people aren't, it goes that way. So Alex Baskin does have a reputation of protecting his favorites, So there's that. Tom Sandoval was 100% protected during Scandival, because remember, it came out how there was at Rachel's apartment where Tom said on camera, and Rachel asked him on camera, why did you record me without my consent and all of that stuff? But that was mysteriously cut. And that's when Tom threatened to leave the show if they aired it. And so they protected him because of that. And then they lied and said it was over a kiss. Tom wasn't threatening to leave the show because he kissed Rachel on camera. He was threatening to leave the show if they aired the conversation they had about him recording Rachel without her consent. Because that is a crime. You're not allowed to record someone. It's called revenge porn and all that stuff. You're not allowed to record people without their consent in sexual acts and then distribute it to people or have it on your phone. And so he's always been protected. And if you go back and watch the show, you see who's protected and who's not. So Alex Baskin, I'm not the hugest fan of him, but who knows? But I want to know what you guys think. What do you think the real reason is that Teddi was fired? And do you think that producers like Alex Baskin, should they be protecting their favorites, or should they be honest? This is where it comes with, this is where I think not being biased should come in. I think if you're a content creator talking about shows, it's fine to be biased because, you're allowed to talk. But I think if you are a producer producing a show, this is where I think you should be unbiased. And I think that you should show people in their true light, not in a bad light because you don't like them, and not in a good light because you do. I think you should show them in the light in which they are, right? Yes, Tay-Tay. This is the same Alex who allegedly got my channel demonetized. Yes. I think it was, with that whole situation, I think it was a combination of me talking about Alex, talking about Kyle, talking about Erica, talking about Bravo, talking the truth in general. I think it was some cocktail of that. Again, this is just speculation until all of that. But yeah, some type of. Thank you, Adam. The other EP is called Douglas Ross. Thank you, Adam. Both Alex and Douglas run Evolution Media. Exactly. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. Yep. So there is that baked in favoritism that goes on. They have their favorites. And then you see what happens when you fall out of favor. Then that's when you get the Nene Leaks of the world, who all of a sudden, we are not getting the edit you want. When you fall out of favor, you're not getting the shows you want. You want to sue Bravo. But when you were the favorite, you had no problem. Right? Exactly. Evolution is the production company that does OC, Beverly Hills, and Vanderpump. Exactly. That's why Tamara was kissing Alex's butt, because Alex is also Tamara's producer on The Real Housewives of OC. That's why she was like, oh yeah, Teddy's like always in her head. Oh, you're right. Oof. Oh, wow. Shut up, Tamara. Tamara is just doing the most to keep her job. So I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below and be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Oof. All right, you guys. I have been talking forever. So I'm going to drop the link